Thousands of followers, $0. Sound familiar? If you don't own your audience, you don't own your income. This video shows you how to change that. But first, I want you to seriously think about what would you do if your Instagram account got flagged, or if your TikTok vanished, or if YouTube just stopped showing your videos. Would you have any way to connect with your followers? Because if you don't own your audience, you're just building on someone else's platform. You don't have control, not over your content, your reach, or your income. You're building on someone else's property, and they can evict you anytime they like. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen, but accounts get banned every day. Algorithms shift without warning, and entire platforms disappear. One tweak to the feed and suddenly your content stops getting seen. One false flag and your account gets locked or shadow banned. One policy change and your entire strategy stops working overnight. Now that's the risk when you rely 100% on platforms you don't own. And if you don't have a backup plan, if you don't have a way to reach your audience directly, you're one decision away from starting over. Now, social media is great for building visibility and connection, but building your email list is how you really protect that relationship and identify the people that are most likely to become customers, partners, and long-term supporters. When you build that direct line, you're not just protecting what you built, you're creating the kind of stability and control that most creators never get. Unexpected changes happen all the time. I've seen businesses completely wiped out overnight because of an algorithm change. When Facebook started pushing its pay-to-play model, it killed some businesses overnight. They built their whole strategy around organic reach, and when that got taken away, they had to start all over, and many didn't make it. I worked with a client a few years back whose Instagram account got hacked, and they had to pay a ransom in Bitcoin just to get it back. And of course, Meta was no help, zero help, no support, no recovery system whatsoever. And some platforms just disappear altogether. Vine's the perfect example, but so is MySpace, Periscope, Google+, and so many others. Creators built huge audiences, got momentum, maybe even made some real money, and then poof, gone. Vine had creators with millions of followers, viral content, full-time careers built on it, and then one day, Twitter just shut it down. No warning, no way to contact your audience, no way to bring them with you. Everything just disappeared. You might remember MySpace. People spent years building their presence. Musicians especially, oftentimes their entire fan base was built on MySpace. And now most of it's just gone. Not just the platform's popularity, but the actual content. They even lost 12 years of music uploads in a botched server migration, just wiped out. Similar stories with Periscope, Google+, and so many others. These aren't just one-off glitches, they're reminders. If you don't own your audience, you're always one policy change, one shutdown, or one bad decision away from starting over. TikTok's been under the threat of a ban for years, and if it ever happens, creators who haven't built a direct connection with their audience, or at least expanded that audience to other platforms, they'll be back to square one. I'm not saying this to try to scare you away from building your following. I'm bringing this up so you can plan intelligently. So if or when disaster strikes, you're not caught off guard like so many others have been. In fact, you might even come out ahead while your competitors are scrambling to recover. So what's the move smart creators are making to future-proof their following? It starts with ownership, getting direct access to your audience through email, phone number, even mailing address. Because when you have a way to reach your people without going through a third-party app, no algorithm change, accidental policy violation, or government ban can take that away from you. Email is usually the best place to start. Yes, phone numbers and mailing addresses can be even more valuable in some cases. Text messages get opened almost instantly. Physical mail stands out because it's becoming less common. But here's the trade-off. Those channels come with more friction. People are way more likely to give you their email, and email is a much less invasive way to stay in touch. That makes it much more forgiving, especially if you're still figuring out how to communicate with your audience effectively. It's low pressure, easy to set up, and it gives you a direct line that doesn't rely on algorithms, reach, or engagement. Even if everything else disappears, you always have your email list. So why do some of the most successful creators say their email list is more valuable than all their followers combined? Well, here's the truth. When you post on social media, only a tiny fraction of your audience ever sees it. On Instagram, about 5 to 10% reach is considered great. On Facebook, it's often closer to 1 to 3%, unless you're paying to boost your content. With email, it's not unusual to reach 20 to 30% of your list, sometimes more, every time you send. No algorithm, no guesswork, just a direct line that actually gets seen. So if you've got 1,000 followers on Instagram and 1,000 people on your email list, that post might reach 50 to 100 people, but with email, you could easily reach 200 to 300, and with a healthy engaged list, even more. And that's not even counting the fact that email subscribers are way more likely to click, buy, and stick around. Pound for pound, studies show email generates 10 times the return on investment of social media. Not because it's flashy, but because it's direct. When you send an email, it lands in someone's inbox. No algorithm, no engagement hacks, no pay to play. Compare that to social, where a fraction see your content and even fewer take action. Email isn't just another channel, it's how you deepen your relationship with your most engaged followers. It's a quiet space without the temptation to immediately swipe away, where you can provide more value and earn more trust and turn casual fans and followers into loyal customers. And email simply gives you more control. You don't have to worry about shadow bans or accounts shutting down. When you hit send, your message goes straight to your audience. So even if, heaven forbid, you lose your following on social, you still have a way to connect. That's why smart creators treat email like one of their most important assets. Now, let's be clear, social media is incredibly valuable. It's where people discover you. It's where the attention starts. And if you're showing up, sharing value, and growing a following, that's time well spent. But if social media is how people find you, your email list is where you filter and focus that attention, where you turn your casual followers into real fans and leads for your products and services. Think of it like this. Followers are the people who like your content. Leads are the ones who have raised their hand. They've joined your list. They want more. And customers, those are the people who trust you enough to spend money with you. And that's the path. Followers, leads, customers. And no, you don't need a massive audience to make that work. You might have heard of the concept 1,000 true fans. It's the idea that just 1,000 people who truly believe in your work can be enough to make a full-time income doing what you love. If you haven't read the original article by Wired Magazine founder Kevin Kelly, it's short and worth the 5 minutes it takes to read. You can find a link down in the description. Now, it's really not about how many followers you have. It's about how many would actually notice if you stop posting. The key is building real connection, getting people to know you, like you, and trust you enough to support what you're doing. Social media starts the conversation, email keeps it going and takes it deeper. And when you get that part right, when you turn attention into trust, monetizing your following gets a whole lot easier, because you're not just chasing likes or views, you're building a direct relationship with the people most likely to buy. And once that relationship is in place, once people know you, like you, and trust you, that's when things get interesting, because now you're not just building an audience, you're building a real asset, one that can support you long term. So the next step is figuring out how to turn that trust into income without burning out, selling out, or spamming your list with a bunch of stuff they don't care about. And that's exactly what we're going to cover in the next video. I'll show you how to turn a small, loyal audience into real revenue with a simple system that turns attention into income. No hard selling or hype required. If that sounds like something you want to learn, tap the link on the screen or down in the video description to watch the next video. And if you're getting value from this series, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It really helps. I'll see you in the next one.